guys, so I wanted to do a video about last night's episode of Pretty Little Liars. It was the season finale, or just the finale before they go on hiatus for next season. Sometimes they split up the actual seasons. That episode toyed with my emotion like nothing else has in a very long time. We'll get to all that. I'll explain everything and talk about things that I think are happening and some more predictions. And what you need to know though is that this will contain spoilers if you have not seen the last episode where they were saying the betrayal was going to happen. I still think something's going on with Ezra. I still think something's going on with Cece. Obviously, she is basically another Nate character. She's there like, why are you here? She just came in. Obviously something's up with her. So I've got to get into this craziness that was last night's episode. So the episode begins, Hannah's crying her eyes out, and it looks like someone's being like wheeled out of the scene of a crime. And Hannah's the only one bawling her eyes out, and my first instinct was obviously something happened to Caleb because none of the other girls were seriously that affected. Emily looked kind of like a zombie, but you find out later why. And then after, it tortures you with a minute and a half of Hannah crying her eyes out, which was heart-wrenching. Little intro happens, and then all of the rest of the episode happened 2 days prior. So it's kind of like one of those show you the end, and then it kind of wraps back to what happened. So Toby comes back. Spencer and Toby get together. Nate and Emily kind of get out in the woods to that cabin. Nate starts acting weird. I think this is what just floored me during the whole thing. I got so upset because I think I always knew Nate wasn't who he said he was, because there was no reason that Maya's cousin should come back. How is that pertinent to the story? It's just not. So I thought, obviously, anybody that's thinking this deep into the show knows that Nate's not who he says he is. So when the show started kind of wrapping up with like literally like 15 minutes of the show left, and it looked like Nate was like the betrayer and that was going to be like the big story, I was livid. And if you guys caught my tweets, I was live tweeting through the show and we were talking, and it was just so much fun, and my head was about to explode. Basically, Nate used to be in love with Maya. If you caught on when Maya was still alive, she had all these little comments about how there was this guy that wouldn't leave her alone and all this, and so obviously that was Nate. And then Nate had kidnapped Paige. Poor old Paige. Everybody thought she was going to have something to do with it. The episode before last made Paige look like a total crazy. I mean, and that, because they went that direction, trying to make Paige look so crazy, I knew it wasn't going to be Paige, because I knew they were just trying to make you think it was going to be her. That's just my... Anyways, the poor Paige, he rolls her out of the closet, and she's all like duct taped, and he's like, basically he was going to kill her in front of Emily so that he could see what Emily had done to him by taking Maya away from him. I don't know. So I am just livid. This whole time I'm like, this sucks, this is not good. Meanwhile, all the girls are coming to Emily, Caleb's coming there, and I'm like, this sucks. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Meanwhile, earlier in the episode, you saw Maya just basically walk right out the front door of the mental institution, and that's what I wanted to happen. I wanted something to be answered with that whole story of the secrecy between like the black gloved hands and the hoodies, and you know, Mona being tied into all that. I wanted some answers. I wanted to find out something there. And so when all this Nate stuff's going on, I was literally like punching I wanted to break my computer in half, because I had my computer because I was like tweeting and that was just the easiest. I wanted to break my computer in half. I wanted to turn the TV off and never watch Pretty Little Liars again. When Caleb was shot, which I'm still mad about that. I'm sure next season's going to come back and he's going to be fine. I'm sure they wouldn't kill Caleb, but I mean, let's just hope. So when they wheeled out Caleb and that whole scene was happening at the end, and I knew, well, this is it. There's 5 minutes left in the episode. This sucks. I knew they'd maybe, you know, show something at the end, you know, kind of mysterious with Mona and A and all that. It made me so mad. I was in the middle of composing a very strongly worded tweet to literally, I had replied ABC, like Pretty Little Liars, the official, and I was like this sucks and this show is awful and blah blah blah, and everybody knew that was gonna happen and this is just terrible and why didn't you blah, you know, because that would have helped. That obviously would have helped them improve the show somehow. But anyways, I was in the middle of that really important thing, and then all of a sudden the show switches scenes and it is Mona and a hooded person outside of the mental hospital. Apparently she's about to check herself back in for the night, because that's just how things work at mental hospitals. And I just see this head, this hoodie person, and you see Mona, and I'm just thinking, oh, they're gonna have a conversation, and that would have, since the episode sucked anyways, I was like, and I love Pretty Little Liars, I'm not bashing it, I was just livid. I figured, oh, well, that'll be sufficient, I guess. They'll just have a little convo, and then you know that she's meeting up with somebody. That was the big thing. No. So then the hoodie person turns around, and it's freaking Toby. And Toby's face, P.S., looked scary as, I don't know, I mean, that was scary. And, I don't know, he has, like, that scary face, and it was just, in the hoodie, it was just very frightening. And then he, like, sprints around the corner, and I was like, oh, whoa. It scared me. It really did. It was frightening. But I really liked the fact that, I liked that, and I was like, oh, okay, Pretty Little Liars, I love you again. This is great. And like, I felt good about the episode again. So they kind of played with our minds. It was literally like a roller coaster of emotion, that show. I was so mad because it was like, oh, this is stupid. This is Nate. And you think Nate's the betrayer, and my big disappointment was that I didn't think Nate was a big enough part of the show, or had been invested that much in the show or in anybody's lives that much to have been considered the betrayer. But Toby was, so I loved that. I thought, oh my god, this is just so intense. And my thoughts, my heart sank. I was like, oh no, because Spencer and Toby are so cute together, I think. And then I had all these thoughts, and what I think is going on, and I think this is going to really make for an interesting next season when it comes back, because the audience, we kind of know something that they don't. I think it's interesting that we know that Toby is doing that. I think that makes it kind of interesting. But what I think is going on is, I think that would be too easy if they just showed us Toby, and okay, Toby's a bad guy. I think Toby is a good guy, and I think what he's doing is that he cares about Spencer so much, and he's so invested in this, that he is kind of joining this side to kind of play double agent and get in with Mona and be one step ahead so that he can kind of protect Spencer and the girls. I think that's what's going on, because judging by the way he sprinted around that corner, I'm thinking he was like getting away from that situation. Like, that's not really who he is. Maybe I just look too deeply into things, but I think that's what's going on. Yes, I could tell by the way he was sprinting, if you're curious. But I don't know. I really enjoyed the episode. I can't say that. I enjoyed it about like the first half, and then when I realized things were going downhill with Nate, done, mad, over it, not gonna watch the show anymore. And then they got me back in the last 2 minutes. If anything, I'm just glad that whole Nate storyline's gone, because I kind of was bored with that a long time ago. I just kind of was waiting for Nate to be bad or waiting for something to happen. So I'm glad that that's finally over with. There's so much that's still going on in the show that wasn't addressed. There was a lot with Ezra. Alex Matt girl, that is it's Maggie. She came back, and Ezra doesn't know that that's his baby, and doesn't even know there is a baby. But Arya knows. I think there's something fishy with the mom's boyfriend. Like the young guy, Arya's mom's boyfriend, the little cutie patoot, that is the young guy that works at the coffee shop, that's like 10 years younger than the mom. They made a big deal about that. I think him and Arya are gonna have a thing. And it's gonna be awkward. Like, it's gonna be awkward. But I really think that's what's gonna happen. Just a lot of things that's going on. Oh, I wish I could think of everything. Oh, and then Garrett at the end. Garrett's being released. I forgot to mention that. After the whole Nate thing happened. And what's funny about that is, I love this. This happened before. I can't pinpoint when this happened before on this show. I think it's happened a couple times. But what they do is, like, when something totally unrelated happens, like, you know, this guy is, well, I mean, it's technically related to I mean, you know. But, okay, Garrett's being held for murder or whatever, murdering Allison, right? And then, you know, and then all of a sudden, Garrett's being busted out of jail because, oh, this other guy was arrested on the other side of town for something totally unrelated. Garrett, you're out of jail. This can't be you anymore. You know, I just kind of, I mean, I'm sure there was other things that went on, but it was just, I just thought that was funny because the mom, I think, looked at the girls and said something like, oh, well, thanks to you, like, you know, we got Nate now, or something. I forgot what happened. I'll have to watch it again. Maybe that's not what happened, but that's just when I was watching it, that's what I was thinking. I was like, these people, like, that's just, I don't know, that was just my thoughts on that. But, I don't know, there's just a lot that's going on. There's a lot that's going to go on, I'm sure. I just can't wait until they get to the point where they're really kind of figuring out a lot of the, like, twin stuff from the book and stuff like that. I just can't wait. Oh, I did start reading the last book that's out. I've got to finish that. Those books read very fast with me, at least. I go through them very fast, so I hope that I'll be done with it in the next couple days. But they're pretty good, the books. But yeah, the books are really great. So I would definitely recommend those if you haven't. If you're watching the show and you haven't read the books, read the books, please. But anyways, I will talk to you guys soon. There will not be another Pretty Little Liars video for a while, obviously, because now they're on hiatus. There's a break. So there will be other different videos coming up on this channel and whatnot. So hope that you guys are doing well, and I will talk soon. Bye.